Good morning. Yesterday we saw that Jesus is the cornerstone. Remember, that stone by which everything else gets measured. Now, keep that in view, because if you're going to build your life on him, he's the cornerstone. But what if you choose not to? What if you reject him? Verse 7, so the honor is for you who believe. That is, the honor meaning that the wonderful valued standing that you've built your life on Christ. You're going to be honored because you've chosen to build your life that way. The honor is for you who believe. But for those who do not believe, then we get another Old Testament quote, this one from Psalm 118, verse 22. For those who do not believe, the stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Now that's interesting. You say, well, Bryan, he's the cornerstone for those of us who believe, and we're honored by receiving him as the cornerstone. Why are you saying now, and why does Peter say, well, he's the cornerstone for those who don't believe? Because whether you believe in Jesus or not doesn't change what he is. He's still the cornerstone. He's still the one to build your life on. He is who he is. Your belief doesn't make him. You don't truth something. You don't access truth through your belief. Rather, it's the other way. You come through truth, then to believe it, right? So the idea here is truth is static. Belief is how you receive it, what you take it to be. Watch verse 8. We've got to put all this together. So the honor is for you who believe, but for those who do not believe, the stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. He is who he is, and a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense. A stone of stumbling and a rock of offense. Referred to in Romans 9:33, that's a citation from Isaiah 8:14. A stone of stumbling and a rock of offense. Think about that. He's a cornerstone, whether you accept or reject him. But if you reject him, in addition to him always being that cornerstone, you'll stumble over him. He'll get in your way. He is who he is, and if you don't receive him, you will have to go over him or around him, and you will fall, because he cannot be other than he is. And if you try to build your life on anything else, you're going to find that Jesus will cause you to stumble. You can't get around him. You know this to be true, by the way. I mean, you talk about God with people, and it's okay to talk about in the abstract, but the moment you mention Jesus, it's like you dropped an elephant in the room. Verse 8 finishes, they stumble because they disobey the word as they were destined to. They disobeyed the word. They had to deal with the cornerstone. They didn't want to build their life on the cornerstone. They didn't want to put their foundation around that. They didn't want to build their house and be a part of the spiritual house of worship that was being built in the community as the church comes together, of individual lives coming together to build a spiritual house. And so they stumble over the cornerstone. The stone becomes a stumbling stone. So here's the moral of the story this morning. Jesus is the kind of person you're going to have to deal with. God in flesh will not drift benignly in or benignly out. He is who he is, and you can either build your life on him or you'll end up falling over him. Think about that today. And if you have people who don't know Christ in your life, you might consider how you can pray for them and how you can let that stumbling stone be who he is, so that maybe one day they'd see him as their cornerstone. Take care.